Hello everybody, back here again for our vlog a day, and today is Saturday the 27th, and today was a lovely, beautiful day to be alive. Got up this morning, fairly decent time frame, got the dogs all outside, got them all taken care of and fed, got it all wrapped up what we were doing. Wife got up and around, and our plan was to run down to a little show called Images. It's a big art show. People bring anything from sculptures to ceramics to paintings to all kinds of interesting, weird stuff. And we've been going there, I believe, every year since I moved down here. I go to it. It's been going on for a long, long time. And it is a big show. It brings in people from all over the world. And some of these people make their living just doing this show. Like they travel around like a circuit, group of them, and it is what it is there. So went ahead, got everything all ready. Dogs were playing, having a good time. Went ahead and I got the old dog, and I got two young dogs. And the two young dogs were getting a little bit rambunctious with the morning plague, a little bit rough with each other kind of thing. So when it take off, I went ahead and stuck the more annoying of the two, the one that just doesn't seem to settle down. The other one, he'll settle down pretty good, but the younger of the two, he's a doodle, and he just doesn't seem to have a chill mode in him. He's always 100% on the go. So I stuck him in the bedroom by himself. So left the other two out in the living room, and basically it was like, okay, we're good to go. So grabbed my water nap and headed out, and I was like, we're all good. So went ahead and basically drove over there. Parking is horrendous. People are charging like $20 to park over there, and I'm like, that ain't gonna happen. I'm not paying $20 to park for what, maybe 2 hours. Like, it's just, I'm not doing it. So went ahead, I dropped my wife off closest I could to the actual streets where the thing's set up. It's set up down multiple blocks down the canal, and it goes down Riverside multiple blocks also. So it's like a big, like, I guess L shape. So, and then they've got some food trucks over in the park area, which this year they did a better job moving the food trucks a little farther away from the main Images part, because the food trucks, most of them run like the most annoyingly loud generators. I understand they're a little cheaper than a quiet generator, but this is the truck you run every day of your life. Like, these trucks sometimes will run 350 days a year, and you think it'd be worth an extra, I don't know, $500 to buy a quiet one, or worst case scenario, $1,000. That'll last you for, I don't know, even if it only lasts you for 4 years, it's still less than $1 a day to have a quiet generator, and been worth it. But these guys don't seem to think that, so they have these loudest things ever, but they're off in the distance, so it's no big deal. So I drop her off, I go find a free parking spot a few more blocks away, head back, get to the spot, find my wife, and she's kind of been looking at a few items, a few little booths and stuff, and then from there I catch up to her, and it starts to drizzle. The weather app says 100% no chance of rain. It's all good, but it's drizzling a little bit, and it's just that annoying, like, where it's gonna rain, might rain, don't know. I said, do you want me to go get the umbrella for you? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, I need to know, because I have no problem out here in the rain, but if you're gonna want me to go get the umbrella, it's better to get it now before we're soaking wet, and then find out you then want the umbrella kind of thing. So she goes, yeah, go get it. So I headed over back to get the umbrella. On the way there, it was a few blocks. I had 5 different vehicles pull out of side streets and parking lots and stuff. Doesn't even look, just almost run you over, like way out into the crosswalk area and stuff. And again, there's, I don't know, 20,000 people come to this event at least right now. Like, it's just, there's people everywhere, and nobody's looking, nothing. And I'm like, hey, what the hell are you doing? You know, like, people are trying to walk here, pay attention type shit. And a lot of them are looking at their phone, they're not paying attention to shit. And I was like, whatever. So at the time, it is what it is. And I had one guy, I was like, lady come blowing past the stop sign, and like her back tire was where her front tire should have been. Like, she was way out in the intersection. And another couple with a stroller, they had to stop. Like, you know, they were walking, they had to stop and like pull the stroller back so they get hit by her. And I was like, hey, you're supposed to walk here. And the lady rolls around and said, do you not pay attention? Like, people have to walk here, kind of thing. And then some other guy's like, you're being an asshole. And I'm like, they're trying to kill people. Like, fuck off. I just ignored him, walked on down to the car. I was near the car. I get a text from my mother, who is barely speaking to me at all, and since the fight we had last week, and she sends me a text that says that she let the dog out of the room because she's going to be out in the main part of the house doing stuff, whatever, blah blah, and she'll watch him. I'm like, well, I had them separated for a goddamn reason, because I didn't say shit. I didn't text back. I was so pissed off. I almost went home, like legitimately almost just got in the car, told my wife to stay at the show. I was gonna go home. fix the remedy of the situation and head back. But I was trying to ruin my wife's day, and I had them separated because they'd been kind of squabbling a little bit. Not really squabbling, but just playing too rough. And I didn't want somebody getting hurt, that kind of thing, because it's just not worth it. Why risk it when I'm not there? Perfectly fine, whatever. So I was pissed off. I was like, whatever. So I know as I went to leave, I heard her ask my wife anything I needed to do with the dogs, which my wife already knew the dog was separated out. And I didn't hear what they said because she was asking my wife, which seemed weird to me. But when I have a woman who lives in my house who won't talk to me, it's kind of the only chance I get is to, at that point, just assume that she's not getting anything. Because last time we talked, everything was, if I need help with anything, I'm supposed to ask her for it. Otherwise, she's going to just hide in her room. So I'm like, cool, no big deal. Get the text saying she let him out. I was pissed. So I get the umbrella, head back, find my wife, doing stuff. So I'm basically, I told my wife, I'm like, hey, did you tell mom to let the dogs out together and stuff? And she goes, no, I didn't tell her. I said, okay, whatever. And I said, she goes, why? And I told her what she said in the text message. And I was just like, crap. Now it's the point of the doodle, especially. He's a little bit bad about when you go to try and get him to go somewhere. If he doesn't want to go somewhere, he gets a little bit, he'll try and run from you. And if you reach down Gary's collar, sometimes he'll pull away from you. I didn't want him pulling her down, knocking her down, that kind of thing, whatever and whatnot. And I also didn't want to have, now I got a dog that's been let out of the room where he had toys, had bone to chew on, all that kind of stuff. Perfectly fine. Now I'll be let back out of the house for 3 minutes and then get stuff back in the room, which is going to be super confusing for him because it's dumb. So didn't tell her to fix it. And she goes, no, I didn't tell her anything like that. And I said, okay. So I was like, well, just so you know, I'm really super annoyed right now. And I'm going to do my best not to take it out on you because she goes, you need to go home. And I'm like, I should. I'm not going to. I'm trying not to ruin the day. I'm trying to just continue on so we can have a day that I would have thought would have been a fairly uneventful, fairly stress-free day. But not the case anymore. So this entire time, I now am thinking, are these dogs squabbling each other? Because this could ruin my career. Literally could cost me my job and my business, and I'm out of work, never working this line again, because I have said over and over again, if a dog ever gets killed or injured, severely, something bad happens to a dog like that, I have to get back at that dog, that's my fault. Now, if a dog dies of old age, it's not the same thing. But because of my inability to take care of dogs, I'm done. I can't make that phone call twice of, hey, it's my fault, your dog is dead. So go ahead, we walk all the way through images, see a lot of the same stuff. And I don't know if these people are making the exact same items and bringing them that often, and they're just selling a bunch of the same stuff, so they keep bringing the same stuff, or if they don't sell very much, but they make tons of profit. I don't know if everybody here is like trust fund babies, I don't know. But there is a lot of stuff that we see repeatedly over and over again, same exact things, and we never buy anything there. I think we bought one thing once, that's it. I think my wife bought some earrings from a friend of ours. His wife does custom jewelry. I think she bought some earrings from her one year, and that's about all we buy. So, but we enjoy seeing it. It's a lot of really interesting stuff. There was a couple new things this year. There was a couple skateboard artists. One of them was a hand carving skateboard. I don't know hand carving, but carving out designs and stuff on skateboards. And then another one was, I can't tell if they're painted or screen printed or computer printed or whatever, but they had famous people on them that, more musicians and stuff, I don't know, but a couple of them I recognized that were artists painted on or screen printed on, looked like screen print to me, that was screen printed onto these skateboards, which that's cool too. But the person who was there in the booth wasn't telling us what it was or what made it unique or what made it cool. And I'm not a skateboard guy. I had a skateboard when I was a kid, but never really got into it, and definitely not something I'm willing to pay a few $100 to hang a skateboard of some guy I barely know on there, so on my wall. So kind of is what it is. So we wrapped it up there, finished up it, and it rained off and on, drizzled a little bit here and there. Wasn't too bad, but I would just stand outside the booth holding an umbrella for my wife, which actually worked out pretty well. She'd walk in the booth where she wasn't getting wet, walk back out. I'd hold the umbrella over top of her. We'd go to the next booth. She'd walk in the booth. And then a couple booths I wanted to actually go in, I just clapped the umbrella down so I'm knocking shit over. Went in and looked at the stuff I wanted to look at. But most of the stuff I can look at from outside the booth and get everything I need to know about it figured out. So, but yeah, we hung out there, got that all done. From there, we headed back over to a little place called Hawks Park, and they had a little car show going on there. Stopped in at it, and it was still trying to drizzle. Like, we got there, I said, hey, because I dropped her off right at the front, wanted to go park way at the end of the lot, and said, do you want the umbrella as like a walking stick or whatever? Meaning also, if you want the umbrella in case it rains. And she goes, no. I go, okay. So we basically went, cool. So I went back to the car, got back to her, found her, and it started to drizzle. I'm like, don't you go back to the car and get your umbrella again? She goes, no, I'll be fine. Which it never really drizzled that much, but it did start drizzling enough that a lot of people were leaving. So some of the cars we didn't actually see. but it is what it is. There's a handful of, nice cars, some cool stuff. Everything was, nice. Few cars that I don't think should be there, but everybody's got their own idea of what they think is a car worthy of being in a show. And it's a non-judge show, so it's just a simple little few hours. I think it went from like 10 to 1. So got done there, wrapped it up. As we were leaving, ran to a gentleman she used to work with and knew from, I think went to the same church years ago. He's way into like racing offshore boats and stuff, and does some really cool stuff like that. And the first time I met him, she's known him forever, and we chatted for a couple moments. And I guess he has a old 67 Corvette that he has bought that's being delivered to him. That's who knows when it gets here. We'll see if it shows up. So, but yeah, went ahead and did that. Talked to him for a moment, and then he wanted to get to the show before the rain came in, and we wanted to get home. So we basically headed on home. Got back to the house. As I pull up, I hear one of the dogs out in the yard barking, which I don't know why it's a dog outside by itself. I'm assuming it's out there by itself. Hopefully not the two of them are together, because they shouldn't have been out there together unsupervised at all. How are you doing today? So I went ahead and basically I got in the house, and the other dog was barking at me. I opened the gate, and I asked the first dog, "Hey, why were you barking at me outside?" Kind of thing and stuff. And basically my mom's like, "Well, because you came to the window, that's why he's barking." I'm like, because she ran over, opened the door real quick, and let him in and sat back down like she didn't have him outside. Which at this point now, I don't know if my dog, that dog's been outside for 2 minutes or 2 hours. I don't know at this point. So, and we've been gone at this point, I don't know, 2.5 hours. It was 6 minutes after we left, we just let the dog out of the room, which superbly annoyed me. But it is what it is. Went ahead and basically, let the dogs outside. As long as I'm with them, I don't care. They can play in roughhouse all they want, as long as I can supervise it and kind of monitor their behavior. So the dogs head outside. I go out and hang out with them for a while. We chill out, just kind of doing our thing. Got a text from one of the owners wanting to pick their dog up a day early, which I was like, yeah, it's fine. We could do it. The time frame. So I can't pick the dog up. Their dog got picked up a couple hours early, so that dog went home also. So now I'm down to just the one dog. It's all good, and everything's all peachy keen. It's no big deal. So everything's good to go there. And I was like, no problem. So 2 of the dogs are gone, and then the other one's going to be here for a bit. So I was like, he's here for another day at least, so no big deal. Went out and got my run in, and got back, got myself a shower, chilling out a little bit. When we got home, also when I got back home from the show, my mom had decided to make barbecue chicken and cheesy potatoes, which seemed really weird to make it at like, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning. We'd done it like noon, whatever. Like we could have made this in the evening. We could have had a fresh meal, fresh out of the oven, as opposed to a microwave meal that automatically becomes leftovers. So that's okay, whatever. But I assume the assumption was she wanted to not be out in the house where she'd have to actually maybe interact with us at all. So she's still in that weird not talking to us stage. So yeah, there's that, which is a thing. So it is what it is. But also wasn't our plan to eat that. We had other plans for tonight, but she didn't talk to us, and I was like, okay, whatever. So went ahead, decided after my run and my shower, it was finally time to eat. So went in at 8 and reheated our food in the microwave, had our dinner, watched some Wentworth. And then at that point, I got a message from another dog owner that's dropping off their dog that I've got for like a week. You gotta have her. But that dog has, I believe, starting to get like a brain tumor or something going on. The dog randomly just like attacks other dogs. So that dog now gets to live completely by herself. She can be around people. Never had an issue around people at all yet. Not one incident with people, but has started having issues with white dogs, and then became an issue with gray dogs. And I saw her attack a brown dog at the house out of nowhere, literally absolutely out of nowhere. So she's now lives alone. So she used to attack other dogs at the dog park, and they told me about it, which was good. And then I'd seen a couple incidents at the house when she went after the brown dog. I told them, I said, I can't watch your dog anymore. And I said, the only other option I have is, if I do watch her, she lives in the office completely alone, or in the house, and she goes outside, their dogs have to come in, so she's not going to interact with other dogs. And they're like, oh, if you're willing to do that, we'd happily like have you watch our dog, because we think even that way you will give better care to the dog than God knows who else might. So, and they trust me fully, respect what I do with the dogs and stuff. And they said, I would really watch the dog still. So I watch the dog a few times now that way. And the dog's super content in the office, doesn't care a bit, chills out. Then when it's outside, but me, it chills out, has a good time, runs around, sniffs stuff. When Bruce was still here, I'd let Bruce be out there with him or with her, because she ain't gonna hurt Bruce. But other than that, she's alone by herself all the time. So kind of is what it is there. But yeah, went ahead and got that dog situated, got it all done. And then again, now I have a dog that I have to keep 100% separate. And I need to have that conversation with my mom about, hey, when you let the dog out, you didn't ask. There's a reason why I did it. You didn't ask. But I need to make sure you don't think you're doing a favor again. You're doing good with Raven, because Raven can't be around other dogs at all. So I sent her a text, and I'm like, that's why I'm like, I don't know how to have this conversation. It's super awkward, super sad. Like, it just sucks that I had to have this conversation with my mom right now, because I shouldn't feel awkward to be able to talk to my mom about this kind of shit. Like, person that lives in my goddamn house, I shouldn't be awkward about this conversation. So I texted her and said, hey, I need to have a talk with you. So when do you want to, come out of your room and talk? So she came out, I'm out here now. So she just instantly started off with just a bit of a shitty attitude. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I explained to her, hey, this earlier this morning when I let the dog out, there was a reason why I didn't have the dog out, because they'd been kind of acting a little bit rough together and stuff and whatnot and whatever. I didn't want that to happen. I had them separated for a reason. And she's like, well, you didn't tell me. I said, because you told me you were going to stay in your room. You were going to do some cooking and cleaning. You're going to stay in your room otherwise. And if I needed any help with anything, I was to ask you. I didn't ask you for help, so why'd you open the door? And then she starts rolling her eyes and acting all like a goddamn teenager type shit. And I was like, oh, goddamn, man. So this got really awkward and really uncomfortable. And I'm like, Raven can't be around any of their dogs. There's no reason to ever open a door. And what would have hurt you to send the text to say, hey, the dog, she's like, oh, the dog was crying and whining and blah, blah. I'm like, no, it wasn't. I'm like, that dog didn't cry and whine. Like, he's never cried or whined once. And maybe because you're in the kitchen right next to him, which there's no reason for you to be in the kitchen making dinner 5 hours, 7 hours before we eat, probably 8 hours before we eat. There's no reason to be in there doing that. So at that point, it shouldn't have been an issue. Would not have been a problem for you just not to mess with it. So, but you could have sent me the text that, hey, do you care if I let the dog out? And I would have said, I prefer you don't, because they're playing a little bit too rough this morning, and I don't want to take a chance while I'm not there. She goes, well, you could text me and told me not to, and put them back at my snow, because then it changes the dynamic of the house, of the dogs and stuff, and where we're at. So why not just ask before you do shit? Why didn't think about it? So that's the problem. You do shit that you think is beneficial that you don't ask, and that becomes a problem for me. Because now she goes, well, you could have told me not to do it. And I'm like, cool. So I got to tell you not to burn my house down? Like, so I got to tell you everything not to do. Like, at what point here do we have this conversation that I don't have to tell you everything about not to do? You said anything you're going to do. She goes, well, I told you I'd do this. I'd cook and I'd clean. I'd help with the dogs. I said, no, that was never said. That was never said. You said if I needed anything help, I had to ask you for the help. You never said anything about doing that. In this situation where you thought you were helping me, and I think out of a good spite, I was not out of anger or nothing. You thought you were doing a good thing, but it could have fucked up my life. Like, this literally, I don't think you realize how bad this could end my business, like literally end my business. And I'm making this very dramatic because it is, because this is a big damn deal. You don't seem to give a shit. I pointed out a couple of times she's done things that really was wrong, that she thought was right, and then she downplays it. So I call her out for like rolling her damn eyes again. And I'm like, when I speak to you, you roll your eyes and you act like like you know everything. And she was like trying to cut me off, interrupt me on things. I said, there's another problem is I'm trying to tell you what's going on here, and you think you know what I'm going to say, so you cut me off, which means you don't listen. You're not listening to what the hell I have to say. It's because you assume you know what I'm going to say. You don't know what I'm going to say. You have no idea. You don't know why. But you told me you don't want me to explain shit. You just want me to tell you what to do. Then I do that. You tell me all I do is bark orders at you. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you want from me. I said, here's what I need. I need you, when I talk to you, I need you to let me explain to you why I want this shit done. Whether it be the dog gate, in the hallway, or whatever the hell it is, I need you to be able to let me explain this, of why I want this done. Well, I said, no, I don't give a shit if you do. I need it for me. I need to explain it so I can make it out loud. So one, I can make sure it actually sounds normal when it actually comes out of my head. And two, you'll understand why it's being done that way, so you're less likely to do it opposite of what I'm doing or counteract what I'm doing. So we got back and forth and whatnot, and it got awkward and it got super weird and creepy. And you do realize how much this sucks, right? Like, I don't want to have these conversations with you. I really don't. This is not comfortable for me to have. So she agreed she's not gonna let the dog out. And I'm like, that's all I ask. Like, I'm not asking you for a lot here. I'm just asking you, if you want to do anything like that, ask me before you do it. Would have been perfectly fine to ask, hey, can I let him out? I said no. Otherwise, leave this shit alone. Just leave it alone. So she went back to her room, all pissed off again, whatever. So at that point, headed back outside with my cigar, watched a little bit of YouTube, and tried to enjoy the rest of my evening. Actually, she also said that when she asked me, she asked Karen, I wasn't asking Karen, I was asking you. I said, really? Because you're standing right next to my wife. I was in the other room, completely the room in the house when you asked the question. When my wife answered you, she goes, she just ignored me the same as you did. I thought you were being an asshole and was ignoring me. I'm like, no, you ever thought maybe I didn't hear you? Well, that's the problem with misunderstanding. I said, well, okay. I said, how about we repeat back what I said then? Make sure you understood what I said. So she told me what I'd just been talking about. I said, that is completely wrong. That's not what I said at all. She goes, well, that's exactly. I said, no, it's not. What you said is not what I said. So here's what I mean. Here's what I need. Here's what's going to happen. And I said, I need you to repeat that back to understand you understood what I said. So then she mimicked back, but she was pissy about it. So, but she said my wife just ignored her also. I go, really? Because I went there, opened the door, and my wife, I'm like, when she asked you this, did you answer? She goes, I just told her that the dog was in the bedroom, the dogs are out there, that's all it needed. And I said, okay. So you didn't ignore her. You didn't just pretend she didn't exist and just not speak to her. So I called my mom out on that, and of course she didn't like that because she was caught in a lie, and that was superbly annoying to her. So it is what it is there. But yeah, went ahead, got that part done. So hello again. Went ahead, got that all figured out. But yeah, got done with my cigar outside, swapped the dogs around again, let the aggressive dog outside so she'd go to the bathroom, got her situated in the office, went to the bedroom, and was going to watch a little TV with my wife. And it was late enough, she didn't want to watch anything. So I watched a little bit of stuff of my own, had myself a little bit of snack, and wrapped it up and called it a night. So that's all I got for right now. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have yourself a safe, wonderful day. Thanks for watching.